My name is Janice Spencer, and I'm the Executive Director of Venture Life Coaching, and I'm so glad that you've joined us today. We're really going to try to look at how do we cultivate some new tools to maybe help us with all these different emotions that are going on right now during this COVID virus. Maybe you're struggling with impatience or anxiety or fear or anger or depression, wherever you are. And whatever role you're playing right now. Maybe you're a mom, maybe you're having to homeschool, maybe you are juggling work and home, and work at home and homeschooling. Maybe you're a caregiver, or you're an older adult and you're by yourself. Maybe you're a student, okay, whether you're in high school or college. These principles that we're going to be talking about today, I hope will really just help you and encourage you as you, again, just walk through this season that we all find ourselves in, that we didn't know we were going to be in with this pandemic, okay? So the first thing I want to say to you is it's so important just to name the emotion that you're dealing with. Just name it. Just own it and just name it. You know, if you really find yourself being really angry right now, if you really find yourself just being impatient, you don't really necessarily consider yourself an impatient person. Whatever it is, maybe you're feeling just really sad and depressed right now. You know, you can't overcome something and you can't begin to work on something if you don't name it. So that's the first thing, just name it. All right. The second thing I want us to do is just think about, are there certain times of the day that may be triggering that? Are there certain circumstances that may be triggering that? Just sort of pay attention to yourself, because then, again, you can begin to do some things and begin to change some things that might minimize some of that struggle with that particular emotion. The third thing I want us to do is I want us to get the right perspective of what is going on, and maybe even a new language, okay? So what do I mean by that? The first thing is I want you to know that this whole pandemic is a trauma. It's a trauma. We're all dealing with a trauma. We may not have thought about it that way. There are different types of trauma. You know, there's acute, there's a chronic, and there's complex. That's what we're dealing with, layers of things that people have had to adjust to. A trauma is when it's a sudden thing, a sudden loss, a sudden change that you didn't see coming, that's out of your control, and that has impacted your life or your lifestyle. This thing has impacted every area of our life, right? It's impacted your work, your home life, your school life, your church life, your extracurricular activities, the ways that you relax. I mean, it's impacted everything. So guess what? People in your home are not at their best. They're not at their best. So how do we continue to walk through this situation with the least amount of damage? We don't want to damage ourselves or the people we live with, and we want to try to do this in a healthy way, okay? So I want to give you another piece of this to try to, again, get your head around it, because knowledge is power. And the more that you understand and can process and, again, sort of get a view of what's happening, guess what that does to stress and anxiety, where it just brings everything down several notches. So you've got trauma, and attached to trauma is grief oftentimes. Grief. That is what we're dealing with. We're all grieving. We're all grieving. Grieving isn't just the loss of a person. Grief can have, again, layers. So let's think about what we feel like we've lost. We feel like we've lost a lot, right? We've lost our freedom to come and go. Many have lost their peace of mind. You've lost being able to have community and to connect with people. You've lost your church family or your Bible study, your life group, wherever you were sort of spiritually getting fed. For those of you that are students, you've lost being able to be with your friends and just the routine of school. Those of you that are seniors, you know, you've lost several things, like being able to go to prom and just having those senior events, those memorable events. I know our son's a senior. He's a senior at Auburn, and he's missing, you know, just that graduation ceremony, closure with his friends and all the activities that were scheduled, fun things after graduation. So those are losses, right? And so first we need to know, and that's part of identifying what is going on. There's a trauma and there's grief. So I want to walk you through the stages of grief, because the more, again, you understand that, the more you can offer yourself grace, and those that you live with. I'm going to deal with 3 of the stages of grief for the sake of time. So the first stage is denial, and that's just when, we just can't believe this is happening. We can't believe that we're in this situation and that we've been quarantined this long. Just the denial of it, okay? Surely this is going to go back to normal, right? So that's denial. The second stage is anger, okay? I think a lot of people may be in this situation, in this stage. Just angry about the whole situation, okay? Angry at the things that you're not getting to do. Angry at the fact that maybe your wedding got canceled. Maybe your vacation got canceled. Again, some of the things, those of you that were in school, that you're not getting to do. Plans that you made. Again, just having to be home and not be with your friends. You're just angry and frustrated. So people are going to be edgy. People are going to be short. People are going to be taking it out on one another. And we're going to talk about ways to handle that. So some people in your home may be in the second stage. Third stage is bargaining. And I'm not really going to go into that today, but you can look that up, I'm sure, and Google that and find more out about that. The next stage is depression. Okay, and the last stage is acceptance, when we finally accept what's happened going on. So I really want to help you with stages 2 and 4, anger and depression, all right? These stages are not linear. It doesn't mean you just walk through these stages. They're very organic, okay? People are going to float in and out of those stages. So, but the great news is this. We can navigate these emotions in a positive way. So I want to give you 5 little communication tips that will really help you if you're in those 2 stages, okay? The first one is this. Before we talk about the tips, I would just get everybody together in your family and let's just say, hey, y'all, we've been dealing with this crisis. None of us are functioning at our best, but we need to figure out a new way. And these are some new things we're going to try about how to communicate in a healthy way. So here they are. You challenge everybody in the family to take personal responsibility for these 5 things. It's real simple. What you need, what you want, what you feel. Don't assume other people in the family know, and give people the benefit of the doubt. What you need, what you want, what you feel. Don't assume people know, and give the benefit of the doubt. When you give people permission just to be honest about what they're feeling, so for example, if you just need a little space, you just had too much togetherness, you might just say, okay, just tell us what you need. Don't get mad because we've asked you to come play a family game. Just tell us, you know what, y'all, I really need a little time by myself. I'll see y'all in about an hour or whatever. If you need to take a break and feel like you're impatient, you're about at your breaking point. You might have to turn to the children and say, you know what, I've got to take 10 minutes away. I'll be back in a minute. Just take a break. You might need to ask your husband or your spouse or whoever, go take a walk. Do what you need. Say what you need. Say what you want. Don't assume they know. And give the benefit of the doubt. At our home, I've got 2 of my boys that are living at home, 2 adult children. Maybe you've got more people in this space. Guess what? Instead of being frustrated with them if they're not helping or they're not doing some things that I need them to do to minimize the stress, I just need to be honest with them and tell them, right? Ask for what I need. Ask for what you need. Let everybody express what they need, want, feel. Don't assume they know. That gets into games, and then give the benefit of the doubt. Let me tell you something. This is a game changer. It'll bring misunderstandings down, hurt feelings down. People won't get offended. I use this all the time in my coaching when I'm working with couples or anybody in a relationship. So that's one big thing to handle your anger and your depression. The other thing I just want you to take into consideration real quickly, these are a couple things that play into how people navigate grief and crisis and their emotions. One is just how their personality is, how they're wired, okay? So we've got people on the spectrum in my home. You may have somebody, just to simply put it, there are lots of personality tests out there and the Enneagram out there, but I just want to give you a simple way to identify. Most people know these, introvert or an extrovert. If you've got an introvert in your home and they might be doing pretty well right now. I mean, they've kind of enjoyed a less busy lifestyle. They've enjoyed everybody being home. They've enjoyed not having to deal with people all the time because being with people drains them. So things being less busy and everybody being at home maybe has been a little easier for an introvert. If you've got somebody in your home who's an extrovert, and we do, one of my boys is an extrovert, okay? He is energized by being with people, by talking to people, by going and being in groups. He is energized by friendships and gatherings of people. And so guess what? You take an extrovert and you put them in isolation, they're about to go crazy, right? And you're sitting there going, why is this person going crazy and this person's not, okay? So you need to take that into consideration, and you may have to offer a little more grace and patience to that extrovert. The second thing is this: your environment and your space plays into how you navigate your emotions. If you're really type A, for example, and you thrive off of routine, structure, a schedule, and now you put yourself in this situation where the routine has been thrown out the window, maybe your space is all blended, work and homeschooling, guess what? It is going to create incredible anxiety and stress and worry for you. So those of you that really find yourself more type A, you're going to have to work really hard to put some structure in place, have a workspace, place where you still have home and family life, have a schedule. If you need a schedule, if you need a to-do list, you're going to get up at a certain time. You're actually going to get dressed, take a shower. You're not going to stay in your pajamas, right? You're going to go to bed at a certain time. If you need that structure of when you're going to connect with people or call people, do whatever you need to do to minimize the anxiety that you feel over needing some order in your life. Some people just need more order than other people. And don't be mad at people that need that. That is one of the ways that they're handling their grief and their emotions. The third thing I want you to understand, and I've got two more. One is you really need to minimize the input, the negative input of information coming in your home, okay? If you are listening to that news 24/7, you've got it on. If you are on your phone or your screen constantly, that constant stimulation, and sometimes often negative stimulation, is definitely going to impact how you feel. So you might need to set some boundaries around that. You know, you're just going to listen in the morning, or you're just going to listen in the afternoon, or whatever it is that you need to do. You might just need to unplug and turn the input off. The last thing that I want to just say to you is that, you know, no matter what you need to deal with your emotions, you may have to get creative. The truth of the matter is people have lost a lot of healthy ways that they cope. Let me say that again. People have lost a lot of healthy ways that they cope. Maybe they coped by going to the gym and working out. Maybe they had a workout class, or again, their small group, or going to restaurants and eating out was just some downtime for you. You may have to get really creative and pick up some things that you haven't really thought about during this season, and encourage your family members to try something new they haven't done, or play a game, or learn to cook something, or pick up that instrument, or try a sport you haven't tried. Whatever it is, you may have to get creative through this grief process to find ways and outlets to cope.